Hey guys, Andy here, and today we have another ranking video. I'm going to try to get these out for the end of the year here. I am still getting over being sick, so I do apologize if you hear that. We are going to be doing my Jeffree Star ranking today. I did want to do my little disclaimer here. I do not support him or his brand. I did get all of these palettes secondhand. I get them on Mercari if you're interested. But I do like his formula, which is why I have gotten them secondhand, but take that as you will. And as always, if you like makeup unboxings with a little bit of horror sprinkled in, I would love to have you here and subscribe to my little family we got going on. So let's just go ahead and get on into the ranking. Alright, I have 10 Jeffree Star palettes. I don't have them all, but I do have 10 of them. And in number 10, we have the Blood Sugar palette. If you don't know, this is what it looks like. I did get the newer version that came in the white packaging. And for me, the quality compared to all my other palettes, it just isn't up there. And I don't know if maybe just from the other packaging having the red background, but this is really neutral. You really only get a couple actual red shades. It's a very neutral palette, which I'm not opposed to neutrals. I'm wearing a pretty neutral eye today, but I don't know. This palette didn't give me what I wanted it to give me, and the quality compared to everything else that I have just isn't there for me. This is an older palette from him, even though it was revamped, it's still an older formula, so I think that's why, but I just don't love this palette as much as I thought that I would. So next, we have, in spot number 9, my mini controversy, which I have the original one, because he did come out with one that has an emerald green in the center, which for me, the reason why this ranks so low is just one, it's a 9-pan, and I don't like smaller palettes personally, and I just feel like there isn't a whole lot I can do with this. I do like the formula. I do really like this shade right here is a really pretty mix between a taupe and a champagne. I like the blues and the purples. I like the browns. I don't know. I don't think the green makes it any more special, which is why I have this one and not the green one, because I feel like the green is even more random. But this feels like a companion palette to me, which is more of what I use it for, is a companion palette. So it's going to rank lower. I have my favorites. It's a good formula, but unless these shades are your go-to, I don't see why you would need this one. For spot number 8 here, I have the Pink Religion palette, which this is the color story. And for me, this is ranking number 8 because I just don't feel like there's a lot of variety. I understand that this is a monochromatic pink palette, but I just wish there was a little bit more variety. I feel like there's a lot of very similar shades. I wish there was a little bit more depth. You can get some depth, but I would have loved a black with some pink glitter or a really, really, really dark pink. And I wish there were more shimmers in this palette. I love Jeffree shimmers. And we get 3. Yeah, you get 1 in each row. You get 3 in this palette. And they're beautiful. I just wish there were more in here. So for me, that's where this has to rank a little bit lower. It's still a gorgeous formula. I love the packaging on this one. But yeah, I wish there was a little bit more depth, a little bit more variety, and more shimmers for me personally. And then in spot number 7, we have the Jawbreaker palette, which looks like this. This is a good palette, but the shades do not perform on the eyes the same. They don't come out the same color as they do on the pan. So, like, the oranges come out more pink and peach than orange. Like, this red came out more like a berry than a red. This came out more like a berry than a red. The shimmers are great. Again, for me, this is more of a companion palette. I reach into this when I need a specific color or shade. The formula is great. I really wanted these oranges to be wham bam thank you man orange, and they weren't. They didn't come out orange, they came out pink and like a peachy, which was super sad. I really liked this shimmer. It's like a white with like an orangey gold flip to it, which is really pretty. But yeah, for me, again, gorgeous formula, but it feels like a companion palette. Obviously, you can make complete looks with this, but I don't know. It's not my top for me. It's just not. For spot number 6, I have the Weirdo palette, which looks like this. It's another 9-pan. But for me, this is way more of a cohesive 9-pan, which is why this one ranks higher than the Mini Controversy. Again, I wish there were more shimmers, because this is a beautiful shimmer. I wish we had a shimmery red in here. That would make this palette for me. Because, like, do we really need all 4 of these when these 2 are very, like, no. I like that we have a matte white in here. Like, I like this row. I wish there was a shimmery red in here, and that would make this, like, a super cohesive little 9-pan. But overall, again, I don't love the smaller palettes. I love my bigger palettes from him. But I do really like this one. Like, going from here on up, I really enjoy the palettes. So, this is pretty nice. And now we're moving into top 5. And in spot number 5, we have my Blue Blood palette, which this was the first Jeffree palette I ever got. And this is what it looks like. Again, I wish there were more true blues. Like, there's a lot of mints and teals and nudes in this. And, like, as beautiful as it is, and I love it, like, this highlighty shade, Cullinan, absolutely gorgeous. And I love the darkness we have in here. But I just wish there were more true blues instead of so many teals and aquas. I do like the nudes that we have in here. I feel like are a great accompaniment. Like, I love, like, Crystal Flesh, this nude shimmer, makes, like, such a good accompany to this palette. Like, I love, there's some blue in this one. I think this is the palette, since this is my first Jeffree palette, I've definitely gotten the most use out of this one just because I've had it the longest, but it's definitely not my favorite, which obviously I have 4 more palettes sitting in front of me. But it's a good quality, good palette. Like, if you like blues, I would highly recommend. It's a really, really nice palette. In spot number 4, I have the Shane Dawson Conspiracy palette, which looks like this. This yellow is the yellow to be all yellows. I did a look with it. It is so vibrant and neon. I did a swatch of it, like just this shade over on my TikTok, which will be listed in the description box, because it's called Food Videos. It is so neon and bright and beautiful. I do think that this color story is a little haphazard, just a little bit. But I also love that. Like, I love this color story so much. And I love the formula of this. I love the looks that I created. This Illuminati shade is like such a grungy, interesting, like, green. Loved it. Love the looks I created. Like, formula's great. Definitely a winner, in my opinion. In spot number 3, we have Bloodlust, which looks like this. And for me, I wish it had more murky greens to go with this shade because I really love this shade in the palette. The purples are great, but honestly, I feel like this palette leans more pink than purple. Like, a lot of these shades are very, very lilac-y or light lavender, which I mean is purple, but they just pull almost pink. This shade, Beauty Sleep, has like a gold flip, and it is so pretty. Why couldn't this red have been in the Weirdo palette? That red, like, makes no sense in this palette to me. Like, the greens complement the purple and make sense. The red does not make sense in here to me, in my opinion. But I love the quality of this palette. I honestly don't think it is as bulky as I thought it was going to be. I like the feeling of it and how, like, extra this one is. And I love the quality of it. Like I said, I like Jeffree's quality. So that's my number 3 in my top 3. My number 2 palette is the Alien palette. Because, like, just look at it. This murky, grungy color story is everything. I hate that, like, this is the palette he discontinued, because why? Like, the greens and these murky grays, and, like, why wasn't this vibrant of a purple in the Bloodlust palette? But just, this palette is my everything for a color story. And again, I don't think that this is as bulky as people make it out to be. Like, it is extremely flat, and these are not that bulky. It's not that awkward to store, in my opinion. People make it sound like it's this gigantic palette, and it's really not. But I love the quality. It's a really, really great palette. And then you're wondering, well, what's going to be in spot number 1? My Blood Money palette. This is the color story, and I love it. I love greens. Greens are my favorite. This shade called Divine Intervention, I would love a giant pan of it as a highlighter. It's a white with a green reflect. I hate mint shades, but the mints in this palette, beautiful. The couple teals we get, beautiful. The murky greens, gorgeous. This, like, black with a glitter, gorgeous. Just everything about this palette is absolutely stunning, and every time I use it, I love the look that I create with it. I love the tones in here. If you love greens, like, I would highly recommend. This is probably, so obviously it's my favorite Jeffree palette, but out of all the greens in my collection, this really ranks up there in my top favorite greens in my whole collection, because these are just so gorgeous and perform so well. So those are all of my Jeffree palettes. I did do, like I said, I swatched the Conspiracy palette over on my TikTok, but if you guys would want swatches, just leave that in the comments, because I know I never did a swatch video of these. So if that's something you would want, just let me know and I can absolutely do that for you. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.